Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike. We back at you one more again, live on a Thursday night. We got Wagner in the building. It's going down tonight. We're going to get to the episode in just a few minutes. But first and foremost, before we do anything else, shout out to my lovely wife, Takar. Appreciate you holding us down. Appreciate everything you do. Y'all make sure y'all show us some love in the chat, man. Drop some extra love in the chat tonight. And don't stop there. Make sure you show the channel some love as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hook smash that notification bell so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video here on the channel. So definitely make sure you don't hold back on the love, man. Spread the love all around. Where can you find us? You can find us on Morph Market, Facebook, Instagram, and all major podcasting platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and more. Definitely tap in with us, man. Make sure you're giving us a follow. Checking us out on the audio only podcast platforms. Please be sure to follow, rate, and review. It definitely helps us out, and we appreciate the support. Also, make sure you're supporting both USARK and USARK Florida. The link for both organizations are in the description of this video. Definitely go get your membership if you can. Drop a dono, round up on all your shipments when you're shipping them out through Redline Shipping. Whenever you're doing your thing, man, make sure you spread the word about both these organizations that help protect our rights as reptile keepers. Hey, we just less than 2 weeks away from the Southeast Reptile Expo Bob Vu show in Atlanta, Georgia, September 14th and September 15th. Clutch Conversations is going to be live on location. It's going down in Atlanta, man. This is going to be a super dope show. Super excited about this show. Really expecting a huge turnout, man. So if you're in the area or if you got the means to travel to the area, definitely make sure you slide through, man, and check out this show. And if not, definitely check out Clutch Conversations. We will be going live from location September 14th and 15th. And then we following that up on the next weekend at the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's Troy and Nick's show. This show circuit is quickly becoming one of the hottest show circuits in the nation. So definitely make sure you're checking us out in Charlotte as well. The live tour is sponsored by shedtesting.com. Make sure you tap in both of those weekends from 10 a.m. Saturday to 10 p.m. Sunday and use promo code HC20 to get 20% off individual shed test orders. And the show tour is also sponsored by Redline Shipping. Big shout out to Robin, man. You better off Red. So make sure you definitely support them, man. You know what it is. Also, another big shout out for the homie Robin. October 4th through 6th in Orlando, Florida. I will be hosting the Redline Report at AnimalCon. Man, that's going to be a super dope weekend. It's going to be content creators from all over the world, some of the top animal content creators from all over the world. So this is a wonderful, amazing opportunity, man. Super thankful to have this opportunity and really looking forward to it. So make sure y'all check that out when we drop the videos from AnimalCon. Next Saturday, be sure to check out Double Clutch, episode 6. Should you breed ball pythons? Me and the homie Matt back on schedule with Double Clutch, man. It's gonna be super dope. We got 2 new sponsors we just rolled out. Shout out to Ozzy and shout out to Charlie from Reagan Renee Royals. Definitely gonna have a lot of fun on this episode, so make sure you're checking it out. That's September 14th. We're gonna be dropping that, so it's gonna be right after Clutch Conversations go live from Atlanta. So definitely make sure you check that out. And then also, man, make sure you check out our Patreon. It's already began. We started it September 1st. Definitely come tap in, man. We had some people already join, man. Super appreciative of them already joining. We're gonna have a lot of fun, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing this grow. Definitely appreciate the support. Speaking of support, man, we're gonna show some love to the sponsors. Unlock a wealth of exclusive educational content by joining KINOVA's Patreon, giving you the tools and insights you need to elevate your ball python business to the next level. Leverage the opportunity to participate in monthly Q&A sessions and so much more, learning directly from the world's leading ball python designer. Memberships are currently available up to the student tier, a tier that includes a 10% discount on all animals. Hey, I've been in this Patreon for over 3 years and it's been worth every dime. Don't delay. Join the KINOVA Patreon today. Art comes in many forms. At Armless Angels, it comes to life. In life, success doesn't come to you. You go to it. In this game, forward thinking is the key to innovation and staying relevant. Plan your work and work your plan. Lose yourself in the art. Lose yourself with wetter morphs. Big shout out to the sponsors, man. Y'all make sure y'all showing some love. Definitely go shoot a follow, man, and check out all their offerings. Let's see who we got in the chat tonight, man. We got like 50 people in the building, man. So appreciate y'all showing up super early, showing up and showing out. Big shout out to Nick, the Reptile Pueblo. Hope I said that right, man. Appreciate you coming through. Morph Valley Reptiles. What's up, man? Freddie in the building. RO 5.0. Mr. Hoochie Daddy Shorts himself. What's good, homie? Appreciate you coming out. Big Vinny, what's good? Bone Daddy Serpents in the building. Celtic Reptiles. What's good, everyone? What's good? The Serpent Nerd. Appreciate you coming out, homie. Wiz Constrictors in the building again. Big shout out to the homie Malacio. Appreciate you coming through, homie. Shout out to the Wiz Tang fam. Bosa Reptiles, the Sultan of Support himself. Appreciate you coming out, homie. See who else we got. Big Will, what's up? 217 Pythons in the building. What's up, sis? The homie Krista from Neurophi Exotics, man. Y'all make sure y'all check her out later on tonight. She is going to be on late to the mic. Definitely go check that out after the show. Kevin, what's good? Sugar Skull Serpents in the building. New York Power Balls in the building. The Pink Panther, Sammy himself in the building. What's good, homie? And we got the homie Troy from Balls and Strikes in the building. Appreciate you coming out. And we got the homie Keys. What's good? Hey, we're going to stop it right there. We're going to kick the intro. And after these messages, we will be right back. If I can find the thing. There we go.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter. I got the fuse. You make a fire. I'll add the fuel. Follow my lady. Just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up. This cool. Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this?
Episode 136, Brock Wagner Reptiles. What's good, bro? How's it going?
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. You been having a good day so far?
Yeah, I've had a busy day. It's been a busy day, but it's been good. Not been bad.
Nice. You have to work?
No, I did not work. I just I had a bunch of things. My daughter had a volleyball game. I got to work out in. Had to take care of some errands. Got a haircut.
Oh, nice. Getting spiffy for the show.
Yeah, I got a haircut for the show. All the hair that's falling out.
Did your daughter's team win?
No, she did not win. She's in 8th grade, and she used to be a gymnast, and she just started going with volleyball this year. So she's in 8th grade, and so she's still learning. So we're there to support her. I'm happy for her.
Nice. How's she liking it so far?
She loves it. So, which is good. I think it's a good fit for her. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So how's your season going so far?
Man, it's going kind of rough. My incubator has not been treating me too well. I have been not getting very good odds this season and not hitting the stuff that I want to hit. So I'm still got at least, I think, another hat. I'm only just started hatching within the last month. Okay. And I now until December, I'll be hatching out most of my babies. I hope to hit Monsoon clowns this year, things like that.
Nice.
But yeah, I bred a DG clown to a DG het clown female that I paid big money for 3 years ago, and got 8 eggs, and I got 5 DG het clown males. I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? It's been a little rough lately,
So your misses, was it mostly sex odds misses, or was it combo misses, or kind of a mixture of both?
Combo misses, just things I want to make. I'm missing those, and I'm breeding for another good example is my Mojave GHI puzzle female, and I bred her, and out of a 6 egg clutch, I only got 1 puzzle. It's son of a gun. I'm the only guy in history that can breed a Monsoon male to a special het Monsoon female that I know is a het, and get 7 eggs and get no monsoons. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't feel like you really truly have a appreciation for the odds and kind of the mercy of the odds until you really hit some misses. I know when I first got in, and I would see the odds because I would go out there on Morph Market, do the calculations and whatnot. I was like, yeah, I could probably hit that. I got a chance. But man, you can seriously miss. You can seriously hit too, but you can definitely seriously miss.
And you're 100% correct. People that just getting into this or haven't done this very long, they don't understand how much work and time and energy and how long some years that it takes to get projects going. Now that we're doing double, quad, and triple recessives, adding in with the codoms and stuff like that. Now that we're doing all that stuff, Mike, that's a real long game. You really got to have a lot of animals if you want to get the specific, combo that you're shooting for. And then I'm really learning the lesson of you breed the triple het to triple het, and you're trying to, produce that triple. It's really hard. You want to get at least one visual, on one of the animals, the male or the female, because it'll help you speed up your odds. So it'll help you get the combo that you're shooting for. I'm really learning that lesson this season. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a numbers game, especially when you're pushing projects you're pushing where you might have low odds because you're kind of at the forefront of that project, and either the animal that you need to kind of push it forward either doesn't exist, or if it does exist, no one's letting it go, and so you kind of got to do the work, and so you definitely got to play the numbers.
You do, and if it does exist, Mike, people charge an arm and a leg. Let's just take the Xanthic DG clown, project right now. I mean, I think those are going for $40,000 for a triple, and I mean, it's a very, very neat looking snake. I really do like it. I think most people like it, but to hit that, I mean, Justin got really lucky and I think he said he missed on 6 or 7 clutches. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I mean, to get that snake, then you got to hang on to it, to breed it back to your females. So that way you can, I mean, it's a process. It's a really long process, what we're doing now. But it is also exciting because it's a different direction for me, because I've been doing this for 21 years, like I was telling you earlier. And I've seen all the morphs that, started, you know, from inception, the spider, the lessers, you know, the champagnes, banana, all that stuff, you know, even pastels, when those were what everybody sought after. Those were what everyone was chasing. Those were what everyone was trying to make. And inchy, I mean, all that spot nose, I was in all that stuff. And so it really is a different game now that we're doing than what we did back in those days.
Yeah. Like I've heard like a bunch of stories about like how much different it was then, and not just with the projects, right? So the projects is one thing. You're working like these more and more complex projects, incorporating recessives and then infusing the codoms into those projects and stuff. But like I heard the culture was a lot different too, and just kind of like the overall vibe. So can you speak to that a little bit and kind of when you start seeing a change?
You bet. So our culture, you know, I got in 2003, and it was we had the big dogs like Ralph Davis, Kevin Curley, Snake Keeper. You know, it was just a different culture back then where people didn't share secrets or didn't share industry knowledge as well. I know me being a new person getting in, it was really tough because I live in Nebraska. There was really no one in Nebraska really doing it and wanted to do it at my level. And so it was, for me, I had to make friends with people all around the country. And it was hard because it wasn't we didn't have YouTube. We did not have all of this flow of information that everybody has now. And it was very cutthroat too back then because snakes were selling for, I mean, a pastel when I got in was still $2,000 to $3,000 a piece. Super pastels were like $4,000. I mean, I spent 15 grand on my spider, and I mean for a spider. And so, yeah, like it was really cutthroat because there was so much money on the line, Mike, and there was so few people that controlled the keys to the castle, meaning the keys to the entry into our industry. And so you really had to work it, and you had to, you know, come up with the money, make friends with people. You had to really, you know, get down and dirty. And there was this, what I am really happy that it changed about, I don't know, probably about 6-7 years ago. The negative part of our hobby, really kind of the negativity kind of went away, where there wasn't as much backstabbing and all the foreign wars and all the stupidity that I unfortunately had to engage in, and I did engage in. I'm really happy that stuff is all, you know, kind of went to the wayside. And to be honest with you, Mike, now, as I think, like me, a lot of us, we've matured to the point now, it's like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, someone whatever, I don't give a shit, you know, I don't care anymore, whatever. Yeah. I don't have to prove anything. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I like that we're talking about COVID, that especially since 2020, a lot of people that are getting into the hobby now, very much more positive, very much more upbeat. I love that everybody shares information. You know, if I have a customer that maybe has a problem, but they live in Georgia, and I have another friend in Georgia, I can hook those two up if they're, you know, to learn how to sex snakes, learn how to feed snakes, or things like that. You know, so it's really kind of nice how our hobbies coming together that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, real quick, I want to give some shout outs. Appreciate you, Scott. He said he met you in Daytona. What a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott's a real cool dude, man. Appreciate the super chat too, homie. Brock and Mike are two of the best people in the hobby. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Even being in the same sentence, man. Definitely appreciate it, man. Shout out to Courtney and Steven.
They're great people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they do some really nice stuff too. Super high production, man, and super knowledgeable about marketing, man. I try to soak in as much as I can from them.
You do good though too, Mike. You make ads, right, and things like that. Do you make ads? Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah. So all the sponsor ads and whatnot, like I make those.
That's cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to do something a little bit different. And so I just tried to find like a twist that I can put on it. It made sense and it was me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Do you do that like for your main job or whatever? Do you do digital marketing and stuff like that?
Nah. It's a funny story, man. If you, I'll try to tell like the short version of it. So, when I was in undergrad, my plan was to do either marketing or management. I know I wanted to go in business, but it was either going to be marketing or management. And so, I just kind of went into the business program, like undeclared. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to take some of the core classes, figure out what I'm going to do, and then we'll go forward from there. And so, but again, just either marketing or management. one of the first core classes that I took was like the accounting intro class. And it was like this professor, like he was like super old school. And like first day of class, like he was like running through all his credentials. I'm a CPA. I did this. I did that. I've got 50,000 years of experience.
Tell me how great he is. Yep.
Yeah. So I got 50,000 years of experience, and nobody ever makes an A in my class. Like I grade on a curve, but nobody ever makes a real A. And so I was like, all right, challenge. And so went through like the first few weeks of class, you know what I'm saying? And so like I was like super motivated to make like a legit A, right? And so first test rolls around, he's passing out the papers. He don't really know anybody in the class right now. And he gets to mine, he's like, Mike Johnson. And he hands me, looks at me like super surprised because like I'm just like this just cool, like laid back looking dude. You know what I'm saying? He's like, congratulations. And like I just like knocked it out like from there. And so I ended up getting trapped into going into accounting. And so I've been there ever since.
You're in accounting.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're smart.
But yeah, man, I like telling that story because like that really kind of like changed like the direction that my life went from a professional perspective. And it was all because like he challenged me and I accepted the challenge. So shout out to Dr. C.
Hey, like, and you won. I mean, you won. That's amazing. That's a great story. I love that. Thanks, Mike.
So like you said, you've been in the game like 21 years, man, and lots of people know you, a lot of respect. Hear nothing but good things about you, you know what I'm saying? So how did you go about kind of building your reputation like within this industry, especially with how hard it was to kind of crack in during the time when you got in the industry?
You bet. So when I first got into it, like I told you, it was very cutthroat. Prices were super high. There was a smaller group of people, you know, in the industry. Now it's so big, you know, there's so many people. We were a lot smaller. It was, for me, I took business, you know, I have 2 degrees, CJ in a business management, you know, degree, so I have 2. And I learned some stuff in college and stuff about how to own a business. I always wanted to own a business. And when I got into this industry, there was a lot of people who didn't have business licenses. They weren't paying their taxes, Mike. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff. And I was like, no, I set this up as I started out as a sole proprietor and then I became a corporation. But it was, I really, how do I word this? I started to like get with these guys. These guys were very successful, a lot of them, but like it was, for me, I always wanted to be professional. And what I mean by that is I wanted to do good business. If you got a snake for me, there was a problem, I wanted to make sure I took care of it because there was so many, instances where people would spend $20,000, $30,000 with somebody and the animal would die. And then they would never pick up the phone for that person. And I can't tell you how many of my friends that and people that I know have spent 20, 50, you know, $1,000 with breeders, and then that person won't pick up the phone after the fact because they got their money and there was a problem. Well, one thing I did, Mike, is on my ears, I made sure if there was a problem, I took care of it. Okay, and because you know those people trusted me, they gave me their hard-earned money, and if they have a problem, I mean, I've taken care of problems 2-3 years after the fact. And that's what's helped my reputation for why I have a lot of repeat customers and why people keep coming back to me.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta look out for folks. It's the right thing to do, and then folks are gonna share that feedback. Like, you do something that takes care of somebody because a problem came up, and it's inevitable in this business. I mean, we're dealing with live animals. There's like things that can happen, stuff like that. I feel like you have to take care of people, and people are gonna say good things about you, right? And they're gonna tell people, "Hey, man, I went to Brock. Brock took care of me," and it's just making an investment in your goodwill. And like I said, and it's just the right thing to do.
It makes me feel good, Mike, when I do hear the stories and someone says, "Hey, Brock, I just meet you, but I know so-and-so, and they got this animal from me 5 years ago. There was, you know, missexing, whatever the heck the problem was. And they're like, you took care of it right away." And they're like, they were so happy with that. I'm like, yeah. And it makes me feel good just that, you know, people, because I get the feedback, you know, from not only those people, but from people that they tell, because, you know, if you treat a customer good and you take care of them, they'll tell other people. And that's the best kind of marketing you can ever have. That's how you know, I mean, you can blow up social media, you can do all that, but word of mouth marketing is still so big, Mike, you know, and what people can say, "Hey, I got a snake from Brock." It was great. This is a transaction, boom, boom, boom. And they'll tell other people, and it really helps out. It's helped me stay in business now for 21 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Word of mouth is still like super powerful, super powerful.
Yes.
I would say it's probably like the strongest thing out there. Just because it's like so legit, because people put more stock in it, I feel like, and it makes sense because it's a regular person that's not like getting something from it. It's like you can pay to put an ad out there and you can have like a persona on social media. You can give good phone and all that kind of stuff. But if people like stand up and say good things about you, then it just means like so much more.
Well, yeah, it also can go, the wrong way too, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
For example, when I had bananas, there was a character, and he was spreading rumors. So what happened was, I'll just tell you a real quick story. So I got my banana mail from Will, and it was a female maker. I didn't know it was a female maker. I didn't know that even existed, And then I had a banana female, or a coral glow female, excuse me, and I made myself a male, a spinner blast male. Hey, people love spinner blast. At the time in 2009, spinner blasts were still an expensive snake. They were like $7,500, I think, at the time. And so
wow.
So I combined that with a banana, or a coral glow banana, same thing. And so in 2010, when I produced all these bananas, and like 98% were all females. I hatched like 4 males, and the rest of them were all girls. And anyway, there was this character. He was telling people, I was freezing the males to keep the price high. I was freezing the males in my freezer. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, when I started hearing this stuff, it was crazy shit. I was just like, yeah, it was dumb. It was just really dumb. Never put no males in the freaking freezer. I'd want to sell that male. So no, I never did that. But it was just funny because at the time I was between 2009 to 2011, I was really at the top of my game in the business, and just the amount of stuff that was coming at me every day was just insane. Like I was working nights, and so I'd wake up at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd look at my phone. I'd have like 36 text messages. I'd have 17 missed phone calls. And I was like, oh my God. And I would have to lock myself in the office and deal with all that stuff before we could have dinner as a family. I just remember my wife's like, this is insane. But it was crazy.
So talk a little bit about banana. Like I know you got into it pretty early in the game, like back when the price was like sky high. So what was your thought process like when you seen the banana? Like what was going through your head? Where did you think you can go with it? And like how does that compare?
You bet. So the guy that I bought my spider from, that I think I mentioned that earlier, which was the first snake I purchased, was a spider ball python in 2003. His name was Jack Briggs, and he had a banana at the time that he had gotten from Will Slough and paid like $50,000 for it or something like that. And I was at his place in California, and I held it in my hand, and I mean, Mike, it was the epitome of everything I ever dreamed of in a snake. Okay. It was color. It was just beautiful. I couldn't believe that, God made a snake that beautiful. Okay. It was like, this is insane. It was just, it felt I could just tell. I was like, everybody is going to want this. Like everybody is going to want to have one of these in their collection because it was so awesome. And it was just so, it was a game changer, just amazing. And so anyway, when I started in this, I always wanted to have a banana. I never didn't, not want to have a banana. Well, like I told you, things were different back then. There was a big, Will didn't want to sell any anymore. I think he had just sold that one, like I said, to Jack Briggs, and then he sold a couple to this other gentleman, and they were all females. So I was really, just fighting. I went to Will's house in 2007. I drove to his house in Chicago when I was in Chicago and knocked on his door to try to get him to talk to me. He was very reclusive, and he did not really know, didn't want to talk to people and stuff like that. And so, I was knocking on his door, and I was like, I want in. I want this project. And he didn't even answer the door for me. Mike, I was there. He wouldn't answer the door.
You didn't answer the door?
He would not answer the door. He would not answer the door. I was like, that's strange. You got a guy here who wants to give you a lot of money. You don't want to answer the door. But anyway, I ended up hooking up with him in 2008, and I bought a male from him, and that was good. And then I got a coral glow adult female that same year. And so in 2008, I was the first person to have the coral glow bloodline, the banana bloodline. And I paid, invested most of my money at that time. Okay. I invested most of my financial resources at the time, Mike, were in those two snakes. And I had just coming off because I had got champagnes in 2007. Here's a fun story for you. So when I saw the champagne, I think it was 2006 in Daytona, Brian Barczyk had them on display in Daytona. I was like, oh, I loved them. Okay. I was like, I love the gold, the gold color. I liked that they were definitely a pattern killer, and all that stuff. I was like, I really wanted those. And so I was on a quest to get those, and they were coming out of Africa because there used to be, you ever heard of Noah? You know the story of Noah? You know who that is?
No, I don't know Noah.
Okay, well, in the early 2000s or late 1990s and stuff, there was a guy named Noah, and I can't remember his last name. Anyway, Noah, he was like the gatekeeper to all of the snakes in Africa. So all the morphs and stuff, he would be the one that would sell to the breeders here in the United States. Okay. And he would, like Brian Barczyk, a lot of his collection came from Noah. So, okay. and Noah would find a snake, and then he would contact the American breeders over here and say, 30,000, 40,000, whatever it was. And then those guys would have to come up with the money, and then get the snake imported from Africa, and so that was kind of the game back then. And anyway, Noah was very reclusive and kind of hard to deal with if you didn't really know him, because he was kind of a private guy, and he would come to Daytona every now and then. That's where I met him. I don't know what year, but anyway, so in 2007, I set out on a quest to try to get champagnes, and there was only, I think there was only like 3 breeders, Barczyk, Kevin, and maybe Pro Exotics at the time. I think they were the only ones that had them, if I remember correctly. And we weren't talking like a lot. They maybe had like a pair or something like that. Well, I was on a quest to get them, and I got a call, Mike. I'll never forget. There's a distributor out of Denver, Colorado. He contacted me and he said, "Hey, you need," I can't remember how much it was. I think it was like, "You need $30,000. I need to have it in 24 hours, and you can get yourself a pair of champagnes." And I was like, "Holy crap!" And so, because at the time we had just built a new house and all that, so I was like, "This is gonna drain my bank account." So I went on a quest of trying to sell some lessers and butters, adult females I had, and all that stuff. And so I came up with the $30,000, or maybe it was $35,000. And I came up with it in 24 hours. And so that's how I was able to get the pair of champagnes. And when the champagnes arrived, from Noah, he had missexed them. And so I was supposed to get a pair, but I got 2 males. And they were also kept for ghost, because the guy I was dealing with that I gave the money to in Colorado, he's like, "Hey, dude, you just came up with, maybe it was $35,000 in 24 hours. And he's like, "So I'm going to hook you up and give you these 2 males." And I was like, "Rock on." So that following year, I got both males up to size and got both of them breeding for the 2008 season, Mike. And in 2008, I think I made $350,000 just selling champagnes. I know it sounds crazy. Yeah. So then I used that money a lot. I had to use a lot of money to buy into the bananas in 2008. And so most of it all went back into the banana quest. And so then in 2009, I produced a spinner blast, banana coral glow male. And I held on to him, and I had really good luck. I don't have that luck anymore, where I was able to get males up to breeding size within like 5 or 6 months. It seems to me I can't do that as readily and as fast as I used to be able to do it. So I don't know why that is, but I just don't. And so in the 2010 season, I had the original banana male from Will, and then the spinner blast one breeding. And that's when things were already going great in 2009, but by 2010, it was insane, So, and then I was like the first one that was really out there selling banana and to the masses, to everybody. And everybody, Mike, like I said, they all wanted the banana. So it was a good time,
Nice. So for those 2 champagne males that you picked up at the time, did you know that it was like incomplete dominant?
I think, yeah. Well, you know what, Mike, if I remember correctly, I think Noah was touting that there might have been a super champagne, I think, at the time. So I think because Noah kind of got smart. He was selling all these snakes to the American breeders, and they were breeding and making, good money. Well, Noah, with the champagne, he found the champagne in the wild, and he actually bred them over in Africa, and then shipped them over here. So if I remember correctly, when I got into the champagne, I thought Noah was telling us that there was a super champagne. So I didn't know the genetics on it 100%. Other than I think we kind of thought it was like a codon at the time, And so that's kind of when I got into champagne. I think that's kind of what we believed. And like I said, Noah was producing those over there in Africa. And then the second one that he produced was bamboos. Do you remember bamboos?
Yeah. I had one of those early in the collection.
Most people don't care for bamboo anymore, but Noah found bamboo over there and then was breeding bamboos and then selling them in the United States about, I think, 2012 or 2013, maybe around that time frame.
Like, what was Noah doing? Like, was he just like going through, like just searching, like through the wild, basically looking for him, like going through the termite mounds, or was it like a farm, or what happened?
I know Noah wasn't personally doing that, but he had people basically. And there at the time, the ball python trade, I don't know if we still do, but we used to import a lot of ball pythons into South Florida, for the pet trade, right? And so these guys, I think the Africans, I think they called themselves trappers or something like that, And so they were always going out and they're collecting the ball python eggs and other termite mounds and stuff, and then they bring them back. I've seen pictures and videos of it, where they bring them all back to their places and then they hatch them, like in a room, just with the humidity and all that, they literally put them in dirt. And so when a cool one hatches out, that's where all the morphs that we have today all started that way, where a trapper saw like a cool looking snake. And then, like I said, Noah at the time had the stronghold on, he was the one that was exporting here to the United States. There's still guys, and like I had a guy from Africa contact me, I think like 3 weeks ago. So they still like reach out to us bigger breeders, and try to sell us various things. So,
did he reach out to you with anything cool?
No, it wasn't anything cool. So it wasn't something I was interested in. How about that? So, I would love to see another banana, Mike. It would be amazing, like another snake like the banana to be found in Africa, and then have them contact me. Yeah, I mean, but it's also it's really kind of a sticky business as well, because you can send your money over to Africa, and if they don't send you the snake, you're out your money. So there's got to be trust. There's got to be things in place where that way you don't get screwed over. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, that would suck, because like, what are you really gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Go to Africa? No. Yeah. So,
yeah, that would be a crappy situation to be in. Have you heard of that actually happening to somebody?
Oh yeah, I've had friends that have wired money over into Africa and they never got their animals.
Yeah, that would be a crappy situation to be in for sure.
Yeah. When you've been doing it as long as I have, I've seen almost everything. I remember, if I remember correctly, Mike, at one point in time, if I could have swore like some of us bigger breeders that we were told like we couldn't go to Africa because, for one reason or another, like there'd be an arrest warrant for us in Africa or something, because they thought that we were going there to traffic in ball pythons or something, or I don't know, some weird stuff. It was a story I heard a long time ago, and I don't know how true it was or what. But yeah, it was a story I heard. I remember that. Crazy.
Big shout out to Tom from Low Life Exotics. He said, "Can't traint for my banana ash sunset clown gets in the mix."
I've done business with him, so yes, not quite sure what trait.
I think he said, "Can't wait for my banana hit sunset clown."
Yeah, gets in the mix.
Get in the mix. Yeah. Big shout out to him.
I was trying to remember what I sold him, so yeah, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it's crazy. That would suck. I would be pissed off, and then like to not really be able to do anything about it. Like that would suck, like, extra bad, like extra bad.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do? You send $20,000-$30,000 over there, Mike. You don't get what you paid for. It's there's nothing really. Can't sue them. Can't do anything to them.
Yeah. So like, you kind of been at the forefront of like several like really nice projects, like and you're working like several really cool projects too, like obviously the sunset, the puzzle stuff, the Monsoon stuff. So what's your thought process like when starting these like big time investment projects, and kind of like what's your strategy and what's kind of the underlying tactics?
You bet. So I like to look at a project, Mike, and I like to analyze it and say, okay, What can I do with it? What can I breed to it to make it look, better? And what do I want to put together to make it cool? What do I think will be a cool looking combo, from that project in the future? And there's certain projects, Mike, that I don't like and I don't want to touch, just for one reason or another. I just don't like the way they look or that. So I stay away from those projects, and I do try to focus on what I think is going to be a smoke show, what I think people are going to want. So number one thing is, Mike, we're in business. I want to make sure I'm going to produce something that people want. Number two, it's got to be something that I can feel passionate about, that I really like that project. Like if I'm not feeling good about it, like when I saw the coral glow, the banana in my hand, I was like, oh, that's amazing. When I saw the champagne, I knew right away. I was like, that's a showstopper. That snake looked amazing. I mean, the champagne was just, I was really hot and bothered to get one of those for at least a year, Mike. And so when I get that feeling about a morph, then I know that I'm going to succeed with it. And what I mean by that, because I know I'm going to put all my energy and time and focus into that, and that it'll be successful for me, and that I'll be able to make some cool stuff with it, and hopefully stuff that people want, So those are things that I really look at when I'm wanting to get into a project. And now, Mike, that the game is kind of changing with the quads and all these, triple, double recessives, all these codons and stuff. The game's really changed, and I got to now think about what it is that I think is going to be visually, appealing to me in the future. And some of these projects, I mean, let's take a DG Xanthic puzzle, okay? That's going to take 3-4 years to produce, after you make your heads, your triple heads and all that stuff. And so some of these projects now, Mike, are way farther out, where when I was just getting into this, I just told you I was able to turn the champagnes, that I paid for in 2007 and made a huge return on in 2008. The projects out there now these are a lot longer games, and so you really have to plan out your time and how many animals that you're going to, allocate to certain projects. And it could take 3 to 4 years, 5 years before you see the result of what you're working for. And trust me, I wanted to make freeway clowns. Here's another one that I had a bad story for this. So I made the yellow bellies heifer clown myself. So didn't buy them from anybody. I produced these females myself. And then I bought an asphalt clown and paid a lot of money for it. And from a good friend. And bred the asphalt clown to the yellow belly females. I was on my 5th clutch, and I couldn't produce a freeway clown. I was like, and I'm like, the male's a visual, and the females I produced, Mike. So so I just finally, I just had to scrap that project. I was like, well, I got my butt kicked. I mean, I was into that for 4 or 5 years working that project, and it just didn't work out for me.
Yeah, man. Some of these high level projects, man, they take time, and so you gotta have that passion. Otherwise, you're not gonna stick with it. It's got to be something that excites you.
Yeah, exactly. And now I could go out and buy a freeway clown. They're readily available. And I was like, so some of these projects, they take forever, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. So, but with me, I always make sure I have enough projects going on, Mike. So that one doesn't work out, I got another side project that hopefully, like the puzzle sunset, when I produced that last year, I got lucky. I think I started that journey 4 years ago. And I just got into the puzzle, and I was like, well, I'm going to breed it to a sunset female and see what happens. I thought, in my mind, I was hoping that it would do what it did. But you can always, you could always miss out, or it did, the puzzle wouldn't be as so much of a pattern changer as it is on the sunset. So that's why I love sunsets, is that they're a color and a pattern, changing morph, So because you get that red, but you also, the sunset has its own distinct pattern. So I love both of those 2 traits about the sunset. And that's why when me and Braboa bought that male in 2013, and we got the first male that Barchek released, and it was $65,000. I mean, it was a lot of money. And and so, but I could see with the sunset, I remember telling Brad, I'm like, I can see that this has got, long legs for sure. And the fact that it was simple recessive, it took us forever just to really get to producing them and stuff like that, because it takes a long time, to raise up the heads and all that. So the sunset's been a really good thing. I can't believe, we've probably been in that sunset project for over 10 years now. And it's still like my number one best selling, morph I have. So it's
yeah, like that's one of the ones that always comes up when your name gets mentioned is the Sunset for sure.
Yeah. We Brad and I, like you said, we got into it. I think we got into it about 10 years ago. And then, we didn't start producing visuals, I think, until 2015 or 2016, something like that. And
okay,
maybe 2016. And we really weren't producing them in great numbers and stuff. And Barcheck didn't really produce that many of them. So they were kind of rare. It really helped hold the gene has held the morph, has held on for it because there was not that many of them out there at the time, and they're still relatively rare. And like I'm really still thinking of things I can do with the Sunset that hasn't been done before. That's how we kind of got to the Sunset puzzle, and I got really lucky with that one. I hit that snake out of one egg, so I'm bitching here saying about how I'm getting my ass kicked this year. I hit the Sunset puzzle out of one egg. It was
I heard that because the rest of them went bad, right?
5 eggs went bad. We just moved, and I moved to my new facility, and so whatever happened, five of the eggs went bad. It was one egg, and that was the Sunset puzzle. So,
hey, you got lucky. Yeah. That's definitely a win and a good story to tell for sure.
Yeah. It's inspiring me because it's been a rough year so far.
So the Freeway Clown project that you got out of, is that the only project that you've gotten out of? And if not, what other projects did you get out and why?
You bet. That's a good question. The Freeway Clown, I got my butt kicked in that one. That's how I looked at it. So I bailed on that one. I'm trying to think in the last 5 years of another one that I've got my butt kicked. The G-Stripe Clown, I have a good amount of animals in the G-Stripe Clown, but I haven't given up on that project yet. But I am getting my butt kicked with that project. Like that one's really, it's teaching me a lesson. Like it's, you breed, you're hoping to see one, and you don't. I've only hit one out of like 6 clutches. Yeah.
Oh, really?
One visual, and I'm using double head to double head. So now I'm mixing it up where I've got a genetic stripe that's heifer clown. It's a genetic stripe, red stripe, heifer clown. So now at least I got one visual, so hopefully it'll help me speed up to make more G-stripe clown stuff. But I was trying to make Batman G-stripe clowns, but I think Justin's already hit them and all that stuff. So I'm a little late. I'm late to the game like normal,
Yeah, man. Like I was saying earlier, you can definitely get an appreciation for the odds once you start taking those gut punches and just completely missing, like not even hitting what you kind of expected to make. Like I know it's like on an egg per egg basis, but you kind of at least expect to kind of be at least somewhere there, but you can like really lose out. And so speaking of that, like we were talking about this the other day, and so the question was asked, like, what's kind of the optimal amount of animals to have, let's say like in a double or triple recessive project. I know it's a lot of like factors and variables that kind of play into it, but what would you say is kind of like a sweet spot when you're working one of those projects with it being such a numbers game?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, and man, that's tough for like let's say a triple recessive project. Okay, like the DJ Xanthic Clowns. We'll take that. I think that I would probably personally want to have at least 20 females on the shelf for me if I was wanting to produce combos and to make those animals. I think I would need at least 20 females on the shelf and it would still take me forever to get the ball rolling, to get in, to be able to produce DJ Xanthic Clowns and then start making combos and stuff like that. Because you want to get a sweet male that's got more genes in it, stuff like that, and be a visual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably say 20 females. So on a double het project, Sunset Clown, for example, I think I'd want to have at least 10 to 12 females on the shelf raising up. That's just me. And for what I, could have 15. It always, you always start with this number, but you always end up with more. You know what I mean? That's how the game is played. Like you start with one number, and then you start. I'm only gonna have 10 females dedicated to that project. Next thing you know, Mike, you got 20. You're like, what happened? We're just going.
Yeah, it just snowballs. Like I was telling you before the show, like I went into last season saying I wasn't gonna have a whole bunch of holdbacks. I was gonna try to keep it to about 10, and obviously ended up with double, if not a little bit more than double what I intended to hold back going into the season. And it starts adding up, and you look around and like all of a sudden, like a lot of your holdbacks, like they're putting on some size, and so you gotta move them up to like maybe their third tub that they've had, like maybe they're ready for the 50.
Don't we love tub upgrade? I love tub upgrade. I'm like, you're doing so well. You go from this tub to the new one. I like it.
Yeah. You're like, wow, like I can't believe you've grown this quickly.
Oh yeah,
quickly.
And one thing that you'll also know, Mike, is as you produce more snakes, you will have picky feeders, and you're going to have snakes that like just tear up food. So like my het monsoons, Mike, they tear up food. So I don't want to get rid of those because they're such good eaters. There's snakes that I pay a lot of money for, and I get them. They're picky feeder. It takes me a year to get a male up to size and all that. And there's other animals I get in, and within like the first 3 or 4 weeks, that's going to be a great snake. He's got a good feeding response. He's tearing up the food. I can just look at a snake and just tell him like, oh, this is going to be a great breeder. It's going to be a wonderful snake. So these are things that as you've been doing it, as you get more, time in it and stuff like that, you really can pick up on those traits pretty fast. And what I do is if a snake is a picky feeder, I'm just normally straight up with the person that I sell the snake to. I'm like, hey, that one's a picky feeder. I get myself in trouble too much because I tell people like, hey, I'm discounting that. It's a picky feeder. And then my customers love to get back with me. They're like, Brock, you wouldn't believe I got it to eat. It was so amazing. I mean, dude, within the first 3 weeks. So I got an African soft fur. I got a rat in that snake. You told me it was a mouse. I'm like, oh, good. Thank you. Sure happy. Glad you're happy.
Sometimes I just need a new zip code.
That's a thing. I think I learned around 2006, 2007. It was one of those industry, secrets that we were talking about that the other breeders weren't really sharing as much, but the industry started to open up. And I remember a certain somebody telling me one day, hey, Brock, take that snake that doesn't eat, that you paid all that money for, take it for a car drive. I'm like, take it for a car drive. And then they started telling me about how in the early 2000s, this certain bigger, breeder, that they had discovered that if they took the snake to work with them and then took it home, that the snake would then have a better eating response like the next day or 2 days later or something like that. So and so then we started, like I said, taking snakes on car rides and things of that nature. I remember I had a close friend at the time where I could take a snake over to his place and he could have it there for 2 or 3 weeks, even though he was literally within 6 miles of my house. And then the snake would start turning on for food for him, and then I bring it back home 2 months later or something like that. So I did a lot of tricks like that started to work and things like that.
Does the car ride work for you, like with some pretty good consistency?
Not always, but the chain, I do more than a car ride now. So because Winston, my business partner and one of my best friends, he lives in Orlando, Florida. I live in Nebraska. So me and Winston, we play the game where we do more than a car ride. If the snake's not doing good for me, I send it to Florida. The snake does great in Florida. The snake's not doing great in Florida, the snake comes to Nebraska. And it does great in Nebraska. So yeah, how many states are in between us, and yeah, we do more than a car ride, and it does really help out. It does. Like we've been able to really help our projects and move our animals along by doing that.
Nice. Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wanted to discuss too, is kind of like talk about like your relationship with Winston and how that started. But I want to take a real quick commercial break. So we'll take this commercial break. We'll be right back quickly. And then after that, we can tap into that.
You bet.
Known for his innovative approach to genetic shed testing and top quality ball pythons, Grey Rider Reptiles also excels in exceptional customer service and responsiveness. With a quick turnaround time, Charlie ensures you get the service you want and need. Visit shedtesting.com to explore his offerings and experience the best in the business. Don't miss out. Head to shedtesting.com today and unlock the power of your breeding projects.
Peace and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Here's to the exciting world of Ebony and Ivory reptiles. From unforgettable parties and events to keeping and hatching some of the dopest reptiles in the reptile hobby, we're all about education, quality, integrity, and respect. Hit us up and see how we can help make your next project a reality. Experience Ebony and Ivory reptiles, where fascination meets fun.
Ebony and Ivory Reptiles.
Big shout out to the sponsors. Appreciate ya. Y'all make sure y'all definitely give them a follow and show them some love. So yeah, man, Winston, how did y'all meet, and kind of like how did that whole business arrangement develop over time? Did you change rooms, or did you just turn the light on?
My light on. I was using the light from my windows, and it's getting dark here. It's 8 o'clock, so I actually turned the lights on so you can see me.
Gotcha.
Winston and I, excuse me, we became friends. I think he called me up in 2008. He was just this young kid at the time, and he bought a lesser clown from me, and then he bought a mimosa, which was a champagne ghost. Excuse me. So he had purchased those from me, and we got to know each other. And I really credit Winston for us becoming friends and for everything we've done together, because Winston is one of those people that you meet, you click with, and he's a very lovable, likable guy. And that guy, I mean, he did everything in his power to become my friend. And what I mean by that is, like, when I went to snake shows, he would show up there. He started helping me out. He started just taking care of things for me. And I was just like, I just remember being blown away, because I really never had somebody who was that just into me. You know what I mean? Like, that somebody was really out there to help me and to help my business and to help me, move forward. And what it was is Winston kind of became like a little protege or whatever. And I was teaching him the ins and outs of the business. And, he has more snakes than I do now. He's bred more snakes than I have. And he definitely has done more species. And he's always been into the reptiles and the reptile hobby. And so anyway, we just clicked. And I think we really started partnering up on stuff by like 2012, 2013. That's when Winston and I started working together on projects and stuff like that. But I really credit him and his determination and his devotion for why me and him worked out the way we did, and how great it was, or how great, it is. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool to like have somebody who you can ship your snakes to who don't eat, and they're going to take care of them for you.
Yeah. I've had, lots of friends in the industry, and there's some great, wonderful friends I've had for 20 years. But yeah, Winston's one of those that, he's always got my back, and I can always rely, I can always trust him. I can always rely on him. And, Mike, the world is the world. You don't always find people that you can trust like that, that always have your back and always help you out and stuff. So I really credit him for our relationship and how we've come so far and all that. And he's really helped me out more than, I could ever imagine. And, but it is great because me and him, I needed, to bounce off ideas off of him, because he's obviously younger than me, and for things that, are going to be cool. Like, do you think people are going to like this? Is this something, so me and him are constantly talking, like, what do we think is going to be cool? What do we think about this combo, or how do we even work to get to that combo, or what, things like that. So he's just, we all have those friends, and Winston is that friend for sure,
Yeah, man, it's great to find people like that, like people that just got your back. You can trust them, you feel comfortable with, and when you find those people, you definitely got to hold on to them for sure. And
yeah, you do. And the fun part about Winston and my relationship is we are alike, but we're so different in so many ways. You know what I mean? He's a lover, and I'm a little bit more standoffish and stuff like that. And it's just like, for him, he's an empath. And so, and I don't have any feelings left. I won't lie to you. We always joke, I have one feeling left, life has just done me like that. So anyway, it's great. Winston always brings things to a different perspective than I can look at it. Like, he's like, well, this is how that person feels, and this is how that. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. So it's really good to have a friend who is also different than you and can help you see things from other people's eyes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you never know when those people are going to pop up. Speaking of good people, man, big shout out to Nikki from Irresistible Pythons. Shout out to Nikki and shout out to Kurt. They were the first people to jump in our Patreon. We just launched this past weekend, man. So not only have they been the Patreon, man, it's just been nothing but love and support from both of those in Irresistible Pythons, man. And so definitely appreciate it. Like good friends, somebody you can just kind of reach out to, talk to like all the time. And like I said, man, you just never know when someone that's going to be like a long-term friend, a lifelong friend is going to pop in your life. So man, big shout out to y'all. Big shout out to Nikki. Big shout out to Kurt. And appreciate the super chat.
I like it. And if you don't mind my asking, Mike, when you said you got in around 2020 COVID time, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And can I ask you, who inspired you to kind of come into the business, to do this, snake breeding thing? And then did you have kind of like a mentor or someone kind of took you under their wings and was teaching you stuff? Did you have somebody like that?
Yeah. So I leveraged a bunch of people's like knowledge and experience. And so in terms of the first part of the question, like, how did I get in? Like I got in like during the COVID times. Obviously, it was like one of those things like I had additional free time, stuff like that. And so I just happened to be like sitting around one day at the house, like scrolling through social media. I was on Facebook. This guy was feeding what now I know it was frozen thaw, but he was like feeding his reticulated python. And so I stopped because you don't see stuff like, or at the time I didn't see stuff like that all the time. Now it's now it's pretty much everyday life. I see stuff like that. But I stopped and start remembering like back in the day, my old roommate had 2 ball pythons. And so I thought it was crazy at the time. This was like 1999, 2000. Like, bro, why the hell you got snakes, man? As long as they stay over there, I'm cool. But like, that's just crazy. And he was like, oh man, you need to hold them, you need to do this. I was like, nah, bro, I'm good on that. But I remember they were ball pythons, so I did remember that much. And so I started researching ball pythons and just looking at stuff on YouTube, came across a bunch of videos, started seeing like all these colors, these crazy patterns. And mind you, like it was 99, 2000 then. And so it was like nothing like that. And so this was like nothing I had ever seen. And like shortly after that, came across like Morph Market, and I started like joining Facebook groups and just like seeing like I was obsessed like quickly. And so just went down that rabbit hole, then decided to pick up some myself, and we started picking up some snakes, and then we started picking up more snakes, then we started picking up racks, and just more, it just all snowballed from there, and then boom, here we are.
It snowballs, doesn't it, Mike?
Quick.
I had Burmese before I had ball pythons, Mike, and I love Burmese, and I had Burmese in college, and obviously they get huge. I still love Burmese to this day, but my wife won't let me have them, because she's afraid they'll eat me and the kids and all that other stuff. But anyhow, I love the Burmese, but I had an ex-wife, she made me get rid of them. Okay, so I couldn't have snakes, and so the 5 years I was with her, I was not allowed to keep a snake as a pet. And I've always loved snakes. I caught them as a kid, all that stuff. And I just remember, like, I think it was like 2002, I started researching ball pythons because there was like a lot of websites. I found, Nerd's website that intrigued me. There used to be, Mike Wilbanks had a website, and I would go and I would just gawk over these snakes. And I'm like, these are amazing. Plus, I used to collect reptile magazines as well. I'd have to go to the store and buy a reptile magazine. And I saw the stuff that Bob Clark was doing, because Bob Clark's technically, I think, I call him like the godfather of our industry. And anyhow, I was following him in Reptiles magazines, and I was like, it was amazing to see the colors and the patterns on these snakes that people were breeding these. And then when I found out that they were actually making a living at it, I was like, holy smokes, like this is something I think I could do, and that's what inspired me to go out, and I took a mortgage out of my first house, and then I went out, bought the spider, and I bought a spider, and I bought, like, at the time, like, you had to find adult normals. And so in the early 2000s, an adult normal ball python, we'd sell them on King Snake for $1,000 to $2,000 for an adult normal female. And if they were big and healthy, we would snatch those up as fast as we could get them. And so I had like 6 adult normals. I bought a pastel for like $2,500, and then I had the spider. And somehow that was in 2003. By the end of 2004, I had a Freedom Breeder rack, and I think I was up to like 30 snakes. And then in 2005, that was my breakout year. I produced 44 lessers that year because I had upgraded the spider. I went to the lesser platinum, and so yeah, that's back when lessers were very expensive. I paid $33,000 for my lesser in 2000.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I sold my spider. My spider actually went overseas to England, if I remember correctly. I sold him for $20,000, and then I had to come up with another $13,000, and that's how I bought my lesser. And so anyway, then I made 44 lessers in 2005, and that's when my collection went from like 20, 30 snakes. And by the end of 2005, I think I had like 80, and I took it over a bedroom in our old house and part of another one. And my wife was like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, "I think we're breeding ball pythons, sweetheart. I think that's what we're doing." And so, yeah, and the rest is history. You know, I got bit by the bug, and I loved it. It's, you know, one thing I can tell you, Mike, is I've been starting to tell people more about this. Is I didn't realize back then how that this has just become like so life involved, you know, so encompassing in my life. Like when I meet people now that aren't snake people and they learn about me and that, I mean, they lose their minds because they can't believe that we breed snakes, we sell them. You know, we have friends all over the world now because of this hobby, and they just, you know, 9 out of 10 people hate snakes. So you have to fight the negative stigma a lot. That having a snake is not a bad thing, you know, that, you know, I don't keep anything venomous. You know, we love our animals, and there's just, it's really kind of, people think we're crazy for playing with snakes. And you know, people that have known me now for a long time, they just now think, "Oh, Brock, he's weird, he plays with snakes." But hey, he's really good at it. He's done really good at it. So, you know, they're like, so they used to, at work, they used to give me a lot of shit up until about 2008. Yeah, about 2008 is when they're like, "Oh, no, this is like legit. Like this is," they couldn't believe the amount of money and all the people I was, you know, making friends and contact with, and, you know, professional athletes and things like that. It really, you know, took my life to the next level. And it's amazing. If I wouldn't have gotten into the snake, you know, business, I don't know where I would have ended up, you know, or how I would have done it. But I really am passionate about my snakes because as I'm getting older, because I'm turning 48 here in 2 months, and I've been playing with, you know, we're having ball pythons since I've been 25. And so I'm like, or no, 26, excuse me. So anyway, I'm just like, these are part of my life. Like, I can't imagine never having a snake. You know, I can never imagine. I do care for a lot of them, clearly. And so I would love for the work to go down a little bit, but I would just never not want to have snakes. You know what I mean? Because it's part of who I am.
Yeah. It's definitely a life consuming, but in a good way, right? It just becomes like there's not a single day that I'm not thinking about snakes. There's not a single day that I'm not doing something snake related. It's just like a part of life. And I do sit back sometimes and just think about, like, it hadn't been that long ago, like what, 5 years ago now, something like that. No, like 4.5 years ago, like when that was like the furthest thing from my mind, and like life was totally different. But then you kind of like fast forward to today, and it's like just a lifestyle, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a lifestyle at this point. And there's so much that's tied into it. I mean, I made so many friends in this hobby. And going back to your question too about the mentors, I've really leveraged a whole bunch of people's like knowledge. Like, I owe like so many people in this industry like so much for the things that they've taught me. Folks coming on the show, that was a way for us to get our brand out. And so like that helped when people come on the show, like they're like you're doing tonight, like they're teaching, they're telling stories. I'm learning about the history of the industry. I'm learning things about things I can apply now, like practically speaking. And so like I learned so much from so many people. And then like probably about 3 years ago is when like I really kind of like really got into like the networking aspect of it. Like I started joining Patreons and stuff like that. And then also one day Matt from Ebony and Ivory Reptiles, like I saw one of his YouTube videos, and he had picked up like a super inchy ODYB pied female from Ozzy. This was like probably like 2021. And so like, you know what like an animal like that went for in 2021.
2021, Mike, that was expensive.
Yeah, that was like super expensive. And I had just picked up like a crazy male clown combo from Ozzy that was like crazy expensive, but it was super dope. And so like I was like, yeah, man, this dude, like, it seemed like he on the type of time I'm on. And so like I reached out to him. I was like, yo, bro, I saw your video. I thought that was pretty dope. Like, that's a super nice snake. And then after that, we just start like talking like all the time. And then at the time, like maybe like a few months later, he was getting out of hypo. And he was gearing his collection in a different direction. And so like I picked up like a bunch of snakes from him in the hypo project, because I was like really just getting in hypo deep, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one of my favorite genes is hypo. And so picked up like that group from him, and we just started talking more and more. And like he would always bring up Justin Thomas from Armless Angels. He said, that's my mentor. And I was like, man, I need a mentor. And so I was like, you need to link us up. And so we like started a group chat. And then Justin introduced us to his uncle, Steven from Constrictors, and then Jaffe from Jaffe Exotics joined it. And so we like just formed a group. And so like we talk every single day too. And so it's just like, it's funny like how those things just kind of like snowball into something bigger, right?
They fall into place. They kind of fall, Mike, like what you're talking about, your friend group. You guys just kind of fell into place. And that's a cool story, because it shows me how you grew and who the people that were kind of influencing you, but you were able to bounce ideas off of them. They could tell you, hey, Mike, this is what you need to do, or maybe this is what's looking cool. By the way, hypo's coming back, Mike. It was dead.
Oh, yeah.
4 years ago. We said hypo was dead 4 years ago. Hypo's coming back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to be, me and I had a friend named Josh Markey, and in the probably trying to think, must have been like between 2010 to 2015, me and him, we had our little hypo war going between me and him, where we were trying to produce the best hypo animals that we could at that time. You know what I mean? Like getting we wanted to hypo everything, you know? And so I used to have so many hypos, and there's a project you want to talk about, like, you know, get rid of. I had so many hypos. I was the first one to do the hypo champagne. My wife actually named him the Mimosa and all that stuff. She came up with the name. And so we worked with a lot of hypo, but about 2020, Mike, there was a lot of people really wanted to play with hypo at the time. You know, that's when Desert Ghost, I think, was finally kind of really catching on. And by 2021, we both know how Desert Ghost, you know, all my customers, all they wanted was a DG. They did not want a hypo, you know? Yeah. So, but I do believe hypo is definitely coming back, which I've always loved hypos. I think hypo makes everything better, Mike. If you want to,
I do too. I do too. I 100% agree with you.
Mm-hmm. A hypo animal. There's name a snake, name a combination that a hypo did not do that combo well. You know, I can't think of one that hypo doesn't improve. You know, other than maybe albino. You know, you know, those things were meant together. I actually, there used to be a snake called, there was a morph called caramel albino. Have you ever heard about caramel albinos? Yeah. And so I'll never forget in 2005, staring at my computer, Kevin McCurley had the caramel glow, which was a caramel hypo. I just drooled over the snake, and I don't even know how many he had. Maybe he only had 2. I don't think he had very many. And anyway, I was like, oh, dude, I so desperately wanted a caramel glow, because I love color. And so I love the color. I love the look of it. And so anyway, I was able to acquire in 2006 a trio. So I had 1.2 of the double heads for caramel glow. And then in 2008, I got lucky, like on a 3/8 clutch, and I produced a caramel glow male. That was cool.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know that the females had the fertility issues, Mike.
Yeah.
There's so many different. That's one thing. You know, I've been doing this for so long. I've come and seen all of these morphs and traits and all of their idiosyncrasies and their problems and stuff like that. It was a real big bummer that caramel albino females. I know they do lay eggs, but it's not very frequently. Like I've seen a picture of a female on eggs. I personally could never get a female caramel to lay eggs, and I think I got out of that project by 2010. So I got out of the caramel glows 2009 or 2009 or 2010. I got rid of them, just the caramels, just because everybody didn't like them because the females were laying eggs. And that was, I think 2010 is when it started coming out. Excuse me, the desert gene, which I think is a beautiful gene. Okay, the actual desert gene, you know, that Pro Exotic started. That gene was amazing. And I used to have a tiger, which is a desert inchie, okay? And they named him Tiger. And Chad Brown, he was working real heavy with the deserts. Anyway, it wasn't until like end of 2010 is when we figured out that desert females were basically infertile, that they would lay eggs. And I've had many friends that have tried breeding them. I personally tried breeding them, and it never worked for me. So I don't know what the whole scientific reason why they don't, but they don't.
Yeah, that's wow. I know Antoine got burned pretty bad on that project too, because he invested like a ton. Antoine from High Desert Pythons.
Yeah, Antoine. I think he told me that story. He paid like $4,000 for a desert female or something back in the day. Obviously, it didn't produce, or couldn't produce for him. That sucked. I remember him telling me that story.
Yeah, that definitely sucks. You mentioned Josh earlier, and like a few years back, I picked up a nice female from him. It was a black pastel ultra male genetic stripe female.
Yeah.
Hopefully she'll be going for me this coming year. I thought she was gonna go this year, and she played me. She got up to like 27 millimeters, and then said, "Nah, I'm just kidding, bro." I was like, why did you do me? Like, and I even thought I missed the ovulation, and I thought I got a prelay shed, but I went back and I noticed her like not in the back of the tub no more. I was like, that's kind of odd, because most of my females, like once they get past a certain point, they stay in the back, like for the most part. But I noticed her like spending like a significant amount of time at the front of the tub. And I was like, let me just throw this ultrasound to her again. And she was still at 27 at the time, which was the same one or the same measurement that she was at like the last time I ultrasounded her. So I was like,
was that a month? But did she stay at 27 millimeters for like a month? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I was praying, I was hoping that she was going to like keep going, because I really wanted to clutch from her this year. But then like maybe a month later, I ultrasounded her again, and it was nothing. I was like, you broke my heart. And then she was back on food and all that good stuff. I was like, you broke my heart.
She reabsorbed and broke your heart. And you're like, and that's another thing. Like, we put all this time and energy, like you did, into raising that female up, getting her up to size, and then boom, nothing happens. And it's like, I start measuring my life, Mike, not in like years, but in like snake years. Maybe next year, man. Maybe next year I'm going to get that. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how we live our lives and how we base things off of that. So yeah,
absolutely.
So Josh Markey then, because you got a snake from him. So
yeah. I mean, I know of him. I won't say I know him personally, but like we've done business together, and he makes some sick stuff though, for real.
He does a lot with Uromastyx, and so he's got like a lavender albino Uromastyx colony thing that he's been doing. He's been really focused on that the last I think 7 years, and it's doing really well for him. Like, he sells those all over the world, and so they're
nice.
They're really cool. They're beautiful looking little lizard, and he's gotten ridiculous amounts of money for them. So yeah, it was really good for him.
Nice. Yeah. So hopefully she goes for me next year. She's just going to be a big girl, so hopefully she gives me a big clutch.
What are you breeding to her?
I put an ultra male clown to her this year, and so I was trying to work that project. And so I was really looking forward. It was going to be an easy clutch to ID. It was either going to be ultra males or black pastel ultra males and double heads. So it was going to be an easy clutch to ID for sure. But it would have gave me like some progress in that project.
Well, black pastel and ultra male, I like that combination right there. I think that's a very visually striking combination. That's a good looking snake. So that'd be good if you do that again. That'd be awesome. I'm really late to the game when it comes to the Ultramel Clown project. I did not get that one going. What's your take? Because I have both. I have Ultramel and I have Monarch. Do you have Monarch as well in your collection?
I don't. I only have Ultramel. Because I'm trying to like limit my recessives, because it's like space and all that good stuff and the logistics of it. So that's one of the reasons. I do like both. Like, we go back and forth and we joke and stuff like that. But I actually like both, and I think you can use both of them for different things. Like, they both have their strengths, they both have their weaknesses. I do like both, to be honest. And if I had like more resources in terms of like space, time, and stuff like that, then I would work Monarch. But right now I'm just focused on Ultramel.
I have both, and I just picked up my Monarch last year, so that's when I first started working with it. I'm making I have triple heads now for Monarch Clown Pies, so I don't know if that's made, but that's just a side project that I got going on now. I have an Ultramel het clown male that I picked up last year as well. Most beautiful, colorful snake. I know he's just a plain Ultramel, but I'm like, what I've noticed with the Monarch and the Ultramel is the Ultramel really is brighter and more colorful, where the Monarch is like way more subdued. It's like a deeper, darker red, or it's kind of a more darker mutation. So you're right. It does have its strengths and its weaknesses. I've been working with Ultramels now, Mike, for probably 15 years, and so I've seen a lot of Ultramel stuff, and I love Ultramel. I think Ultramel is really beautiful.
Yeah, and I think it's still a lot to do with it. Like, I feel like it's untapped. Like, I feel like I've seen a good bit of like nice things in Ultramel, but I feel like it's still like so much more out there that you can do with Ultramel.
Yeah. So, and you want to know, here's a little industry tip or history lesson. So the reason that Ultramel, Mike, didn't get worked into all the projects, like, because it's been around for 15 years, at least, you would think there'd be a lot more combinations of Ultramels out there, right? Well, what happened with the advent of the banana, when that came on the scene, is basically people would say, Brock, why would I play with an Ultramel when I can just buy a banana? It's a codom, and I can make, I can breed a banana to it and get a colorful animal, right away. So since the banana was, running through everybody's collections, people just didn't really want to work with Ultramel because they thought that they could have the codom banana. So that's why Ultramel really sat untapped, Mike, for about 10 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. That's why people really weren't working it. That's why people just didn't really care for them. I've been doing it for so long that I can tell you, we all know by what's popular, by what people want. And that's how much people are willing to pay. And, that's why with DGs went way up high when Justin came out with all those cool DG combos. What happened to DG stock? It went way high. Well, Ultramels, but they were kind of worthless. They weren't worth very much money back between 2010 to 2016, 17. People just would rather have a banana. They're like, I could make that with a banana. I don't need that, So that was their vision or their way of thinking. That's how the customer always worded it to me. So yeah. So that's why the Ultramel just went to the wayside and didn't get really worked very hard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but I did notice that with how long Ultramel has been around and just like kind of the available stuff out there, I haven't seen a whole bunch of stuff out there in it, and so I'm definitely looking forward to some of the directions that I'm going with it, and I'm gonna work that project pretty well. Do you, in your collection, do you have like kind of because I know there's like in mine at least, I've got like a lighter Ultramel, and then I've got one that's more so like on the dark side. Have you noticed that in your collection or with other people?
I actually have, yeah. The Ultramels do vary, okay, when you produce them. They do vary. And like I said, so things that are heifer clown normally, Mike, are more bright, okay? Like a pastel, it's heifer clown. If you just have a regular pastel and you have a pastel heifer clown, the pastels that's heifer clown, normally a little bit brighter, especially as babies, okay? So I think that's kind of what might be attributing to my Ultramel het clown that's so bright and so nice. But I've been working with Ultramel, like I said, for 15 years. I produced Ultramels that were very dull and very kind of dark. And so I always kept the lighter colored ones because, like I told you, I love color. So in my breeding stock and in my colony, I've always kept the lighter, lightest looking, best looking ones I could.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I've noticed that in my collection, and I still got both right now, and I'll probably take them different directions, kind of depending on like what the babies start looking like when I'm producing, to see if like what I think is going to work because of the color, temperature that they're throwing, or whatever, like kind of the color that they're throwing. We'll see how that looks, or I might just like shift gears and like really focus on one more so than the other. I don't necessarily know yet, but I definitely kind of want to tinker with it a little bit just to see what I can find out. And that's one of the fun things too, or at least in my opinion, with like these projects, is just tinkering with it and kind of like being creative and stuff like that. It's kind of like you, like a little mad scientist in a lab in some kind of way, in some ways.
We get to play little gods, with our snakes, do we not? That we get to produce.
Yeah.
You're in. Obviously, there's people that are better at it than me. That they can come up, with way better combinations than I can think of. But yeah, it's really fun. I think that's what keeps this hobby thriving and keeps us going. is getting to play little scientists. You know, I've used that term as well. Is that we get to make some kick butts, you know, kick ass shit. That we can think of in our head, and is it going to turn out and look that way when it comes out of the egg? You know.
Yeah, yeah. And then you automatically think about like the next step, like let's refine it further and build on it. So it's pretty cool.
Did you see the Ultramel Monsoon, Mike? Did you see that? Did I see the Yeah, the Ultramel Monsoon was made over in Europe, and
when I didn't see that one.
That was this summer, about a month and a half ago, or at least a month ago. It's freaking badass.
Who made it?
Oh man, I can't even say his name. I don't know where he's from, but he's from over in Europe. I'd have to see if I could look it up. I think I might be able to figure out, but it's really nice. Let me. So yeah, he made. Excuse me, this gentleman over in, I think it's Europe. I think that's where he's from. He made the Ultramel Monsoon, and it looks amazing.
I bet you, because I always thought that like Ultramel Monsoon would look good. Xanthic Monsoon, like those kind of genes, like I think all that stuff would look good. It works really well together, considering like what each of the respective genes do.
Yes. I apologize, I can't find it right now, but
yeah, I'm gonna definitely go check that out though.
Yeah.
Find it.
I'm sure if we Google it, you know, will we be able to pull it up? I have an Xanthic female that she's gravid right now to my Monsoon male, so I'm trying to produce Xanthic Monsoons. I only wish that I would have had a DG Xanthic female, so I could have added Desert Ghost to it, you know. But this year, what? Yeah,
I said that'll be nuts too.
Yeah, this year, I know I'm hopefully going to make Clown Monsoons. I'm going to make more Pied Monsoons, and then next year we'll make Ultramel Monsoons. This year we're trying to do something crazy. We're trying to make a Freeway Monsoon, so we're going for that. And then I think we got 3 clutches coming for Desert Ghost Monsoon.
Oh, nice
visuals. I think Desert Ghost is going to be amazing in Monsoon, because what's your take on it, Mike? Do you think that the Monsoon, because a lot of people, they criticize it, they say it's like a overpowering, mutation that you can't do much with it because it just, overpowers whatever you put into it? Or do you think that, what's your opinion on that? Do you think that it's got legs and that there's stuff that we can do and change it up?
I do want to say real quick that I was able to find that Ultramel Monsoon on my side. It was a special Ultramel Monsoon. Was that it?
I think so, yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy. But to answer your question, yeah, I think stuff like that does still have legs. There may be some genes that it doesn't overpower, and so you kind of got to do the work to figure out like what that is. But then, given that it's like a heavy pattern gene, you still have the color direction to go. Like that Ultramel Monsoon that I just pulled up was absolutely gorgeous. Working DG and Xanthic in that project, like that's crazy. Has a hypo Monsoon been made?
No, the hypo. I'm kind of shocked because I think Dave Green made some, double heads back in the day, but I haven't seen him produce one yet. So I'd have to ask Dave where he's at on that. So yeah, I don't know. No one's produced a hypo Monsoon that I've seen. That has not been made. That's going to be a kick-ass looking snake too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That'll be hot. And I think with Pied that maybe we can trick out I think there's things that the Monsoon that we haven't tapped into yet, where the Monsoon, yes, it's a definite overpowering, pattern mutation. But I think that there's other mutations that we can breed it into that we can twack out that pattern. You know what I mean? So I have some ideas in my head about how to do that. I don't know if it'll work, but that is also some stuff that I'm going that direction in the Monsoon project, where I'm going to add some genes to it that I think can actually twack out the pattern of a visual Monsoon.
Yeah, you got to put in the work, and then if you do find something and it looked just absolutely crazy, then boom, you're on the map for doing that, and so everyone want to rush to it. Yeah, you get the reward. Like you're taking the risk, but there could be a hell of a reward at the end of that rainbow.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why we do this stuff. And that's what's kept me in the hobby for 21 years is the rewards. Like you produce something no one's ever produced before, and it's actually really cool, and people they love you for it. It's nice, and people tell you, even if you don't get paid right away for it, the accolades, people say, hey, dude, you produced a kick-ass snake. That was awesome. Things like that. So it does. It makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy,
Yeah, for sure. So I know, like, throughout the conversation, like you've touched on like some of this a little bit, right? And so what I'm talking about is like challenges and like sacrifices that you have to make in your life. Like you mentioned, like how when y'all first started and collection started growing, you had to scale up, running out of space, and your wife was kind of like, what are we doing here? So talk about like some of the sacrifices that you had to make and kind of how you like balance that over time.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've made a lot of sacrifices, and now that I'm getting older, I'm really, really recognizing some of them. For one, because I've been like we've talked about, this is a fully encompassing thing for people like us, okay, where this is my life, where I've missed out on a lot of parties, a lot of social events, because I'm cleaning snake poop, Mike. I'm cleaning snake poop. And so there's friendships that have died off because, I wasn't able to put in the time and energy and effort to be there for those, for that person, because I'm talking to Winston cleaning snake shit, and stuff like that. So it's a huge thing. And I'm really starting to realize like some of the stuff that I've missed out on. Another thing is because I've been caring for so many snakes for so long, okay, hundreds of snakes. There's trips that I could have gone on, or just overseas trips and stuff, that I couldn't leave the collection, because I had to care for it. And if I did leave someone in charge, I've left the country a few times, and every time I come back, there's always a problem. Things don't get clean, things don't, things aren't, no one's going to care for your babies like you are, And so for me, and I've got a hard control on caring for, because I care really, heavy about my collection. So there's a lot of experiences I didn't get to have, or haven't had yet. Just because I've been caring for the collection, and it's so encompassing of my life. Another thing is, people don't realize, you got to source rodents, to feed these things. And I can't even tell you how many rodent suppliers I've been through, in my 20 years. I don't even know, you know what I mean? Because I always have to find somebody, and they got to supply me with a consistent supply and all that stuff. I have a great supplier now, so it's good. But yeah, no, that's like the sacrifices that we have to make to care for the animals, and then constantly, interacting with customers and stuff like that, and caring for customers. I mean, tonight when I was at my daughter's volleyball game, I had a snake, morph market. I had, 2 people blowing me up on morph market, and they were wanting pictures, they were wanting this, right then and there. So it's always like, it never goes away. It's always there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always on. It feels like it's always, I don't know what it would be like if I didn't have all these animals and I didn't have this responsibility. I don't know what I would do, because it's just been so all encompassing of my life,
Gotcha. Have you ever felt burnt out? Like, has there ever been a time where you're just like, I'm gonna stop doing this, I can't do this anymore? And how did you push through it? Like, what kept you going?
You bet. Any big breeder that's been doing this for 10 plus years, that's cared for hundreds of animals and done this, they've all been burned out. Okay. I've talked to most of my colleagues have been burned out. And honestly, Mike, what gets me excited and keeps me doing it is I get excited about a new project. Okay. So for me, Mike, that's what has kept me in the game. That's kept me doing this, is I see a morph, I get the morph, and I want to work with that morph, and it keeps me excited, and it keeps me wanting to keep moving forward. It picks me up and says, hey, Brock, keep doing this. Yeah, it's a sacrifice, but keep doing this, because I want to work with that morph. And so that's been one of the number one stimulators that keep me doing it. Plus now, my wife will tell you, I think it's just so engrossed in who I am and my fabric that I've done this for most of my adult life. So I don't know if I didn't do it, what I'd be like. You know what I mean? I'd probably go through withdrawals.
You probably do what?
I'd go through withdrawals. I'd go through withdrawals if I wasn't involved in this. I mean, it is crazy. I've thought about it. Like, what if I didn't do this? Like, what would I do with my life? I'm like, oh my God, I'd have so much free time. I can go start another business. It'd be great.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say to like that person? Because like, I feel like every time I get on social media, I see a different person getting out. They're selling their collection. And obviously, like, life happens, and I'm definitely not here to judge anybody, because I mean, one of the things that this game favors is stability, right? And so, like, shit happens. It's just the nature of everything. But
Right.
for somebody that's out there maybe feeling kind of down on themselves and kind of feeling burnt out, whatever, like, what advice would you give them in terms of like sticking it out and just kind of making it work?
You bet. So number one, I tell people this all the time. If you're paying for snakes and you're spending thousands of dollars on animals and you're caring for them, and you know, like right now we're in a market downward, spiral right at the moment, just because of the economy. There's a lot of factors, that went into our current economic, situation. But I can tell people that you can be successful. You're burned out. Produce. Number one thing you need to do, you need to see your projects through. Produce. I know you're seeing them on Morph Market. They're selling for less money or whatever. But I tell people, like, if you'll be successful just as long as you produce, because you got to make those babies, and you'll be able to sell those babies, and you'll be able to get into something else, and it'll re-stimulate you. Like I just told you how I get stimulated. You'll get a new project to work on, and then you'll spiral. You'll keep, or not spiral, but you'll keep the wheel moving. You'll keep going down the road. So I think that people that are thinking about getting out now, and you're right, can't judge people. Some people, this just might not be for them. They might have been cleaning snake poop for the last 3 years. They haven't produced a baby, and they're like burned out. They're like, why am I doing this? I say stick with it, produce those babies. And if you are not happy after, you produce those babies, the morphs that you had purchased, that you had shot for that combination, if you hit it and you don't feel like, it was as big a reward as you wanted and all that, then by all means, yeah, go get out and do something else. It's your life, it's your time. But I think that people that get bit by the bug, who love these animals and love seeing the combos, love making them, it's just an adrenaline rush to cut an egg or see that cool baby crawl out. That's just amazing. I mean, that's what keeps us going. That's what makes you want to keep doing this. Plus, let's just be straight. Our profit potential on ball pythons is very huge. I know what it costs me to produce a ball python, okay? And it is not that much. And especially since I do majority of the labor. And so anyway, I think that this has been just such a financially rewarding thing for me in my life. And yeah, I know that I got in at the right time, and I did everything right when I was new and all that stuff. I get it. But I think that the financial rewards are there for people if they just see it through. You know what I mean? And you just got to follow through. And, once you get your breeding system in place, you got your racks, you got your food source, you got everything all figured out that way. You dial in, produce babies, you can be successful at this. You just got to keep your head up. And trust me, we all get beat down. We all see something online that we don't like, or someone slashes the price on a snake, and you're like, oh shit, wow, that's worthless. Or, but you got to stick with it, and you got to think, how can I overcome that? And how can I make something that people want, and what I like? Number one person that we are breeding for is ourselves. Like that Xanthic Monsoon. No one told me to do that. I just thought to myself, that's going to be a kick-ass combo. I want to make that myself, I want to make that Monsoon that looks Xanthic. I think that'd be a killer looking snake coming out of the egg, So you got to breed what you like too. Because if you like it and you're passionate and you're into it, you'll be successful at it.
Absolutely. Like that passion is so key. Like, I know that term gets used a lot of time, but like
it does, yeah.
It's for good reason. Like it's super important. You got to have that passion, because that's what's going to keep you motivated. I feel like because money isn't necessarily going to always be there. And if you're just doing it for the money, then there could be times when the money isn't there. And so if you don't like what you're doing, then, and the money ain't hitting right, then it's gonna be hard to go in there and do it and clean all those snakes and do this and kind of all the other things that you got to take care of. So you definitely got to be passionate about what you're doing, for sure. And you're not lying. Like the profit potential is definitely there as well too. So
I think a lot of people, because like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've met a lot of people. One thing I like about this is I've met people from all walks of life in my ball python. journey, because, you know, I have met people that basically do every job thing, you know, that you can think of. And I've met some very wealthy, very well-off individuals, and that own all these different types of businesses and stuff like that. And it's been, I like to learn from people. So for me, I love that I learn from my customers. I learn from people I interact with. And it's been very interesting that the people that just got into this just for the sole purpose of producing money, or, you know, it's a money-making thing, and that they don't really care for snakes. I mean, I've sold snakes to people. They flat out tell me afterwards, like, hey, I don't care about them. I just want this to make the money. But I'm paying this guy over here to take care of it and all that stuff. And I'm like, and guess, I always say to myself, I'm like, they're not going to succeed. You know, they're not going to succeed. Guess what, Mike? They all go away. They don't succeed because they don't like the snakes. They're not into it for the right reason. You know, they're going to make some bucks because they're buying a high-end snake and this, that, and the other, but they're not really into it. They don't really love the snakes. You know what I mean? They don't love the way they look. They don't do that. So if you're just, you know, because like I said, I've you know, crossed paths with quite a few very wealthy individuals, and they were just buying them so that way they could set up another breeder to or someone to breed them for them and all that. And a lot of those people do not, a lot of those people do not succeed. That's a good question.
That's a great question. That's Matt.
Yeah, Matt. That's a good question, Matt. I get asked that a lot, and I'm going to be straight with you. I've been doing this for 21 years, and, you know, every year it's always the sky is falling. It's always that, you know, the end of the world, ball pythons, no one's going to buy them. You know, I can tell you, I've seen it all. I've been there where I went to shows and made very little money. I've also went to shows where I made $50K in a day, you know, so I've seen all the goods and I've seen the bad. This situation we're in right now is a very unique one. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever seen one quite like this, because it's very unusual. Like right now, the pet stores aren't buying because, you know, they normally, and what I mean by that is a lot of us, we have excess animals, you know, the normals, you got to find loving homes for those. And so right now the pet stores, the economy is so bad out there that the pet stores, they're not having customers walk through the door and buy those normals. And well, now you can get a banana at PetSmart, Petco. So this is a unique situation. I do think that we will come back from this. I don't think we won't really probably start seeing the money start flowing until about 2026. I think we're probably, I economically forecasted what is happening this year, last year. You can ask Winston, you can ask my friends. I was telling my close inner circle, I'm like, hey, I see what's going to happen. I'm seeing what's going to happen. Everything I said, everything I told them, it all came to fruition this year. Okay. I didn't see that the pet stores like the pet trade animals were going to, you know, fall off like they did. I didn't really see that one coming as bad as it has. But I do believe that, you know, America will bounce back, our economy will bounce back. And I think by 2026, I do think that, because this is never going to die. This will never be the end of it. I see certain people, they're forecasting saying that, hey, you can't combo yourself into a new great looking snake or new money. And I disagree with them, because some people are saying, hey, that the ball python game is dead because there's not a new supply of animals coming in from Europe or not Europe, but from Africa. And I will tell you, there's always something. Okay, there's always something. Every time I've always said, hey, there's nothing, the bamboo shows up. You know, when everyone was spending 25 grand on bamboos, there's always something. The ball python industry is not going to die. Who knows what we'll be talking about in 2026? But you mark my words, in 2026, excuse me, we'll be talking about some new gene that was discovered, or some new thing, and it will be lighting the market on fire. So that's my professional opinion on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just another breeding season away. So we're not that far out from it.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up tonight, Brock, is there anything else that you kind of want to put people on the lookout for? Like, what all shows are you going to be at over the next few months?
You bet. I'm going to be at my little local Omaha show here in Omaha, Nebraska, end of September. And then I do Tinley Park, obviously. That's my best show. You know, the fall Tinley Park show is It's like hometown for me. I've been vending it since 2006, I think. And so I got a lot of friends and customers that come see me, and I love that market. And then I'm going to also be doing the St. Louis Reptile Show, the NARBC in St. Louis.
Okay.
We're doing something kind of special this year. I'm taking my daughters. They're 15 and 13, and so they breed crested geckos, and then they also help me in the snake building. Excuse me. And so they're going to come with me, and they want to vend a big show. So they're going to vend St. Louis. So we're going to see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
so that'd be cool. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. So I'm really looking forward to St. Louis because it's going to be a good family experience as well.
Okay, so I'll see you in Tinley.
Okay, yeah. You'll see me in Tinley. Are you going to set up a booth and do clutch conversations and all that in Tinley?
Yeah. So we'll be at Tinley, and then Tinley, that's the last show on the tour for a few months until NARBC Dallas in March. Yeah,
I'll come over and say hi, and we can do a little podcast thing.
Yes, sir. We'll definitely have to connect, man. It's a lot of fun, man. Learned a lot this last time in Daytona. I'm sure I'll learn more in Atlanta and just going forward, man. But it's super fun. It's a grind, but it's definitely fun and for sure rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Beast Morphs is right. Yeah, jobs. People have jobs. It's the inflation right now. Like, I just can't wrap my brain around that. For me to go out to eat, like, let's say I'm going to grab a Subway or go and grab my Pepper Jack store, it's $20. For one person. Like the food prices. Food prices do not make sense to me anymore at all. Like, what is going on?
It's super expensive, and then people's like income doesn't increase like at the same rate as like inflation, and so they're really like making less money at the end of the day. Like, even if you give them a little bit of a raise, it doesn't outpace the inflation, and so they're still like effectively making less money.
No, I agree with you. And I built a new home and built my snake facility I started in 2022. Yeah, we broke ground in 2022. And like I was telling you earlier, Mike, in 2020, I mean, we go through ebbs and flows in our business, right? And so 2019 for me, it was kind of a lackluster year. It wasn't that great. 2020, things just really kicked on and turned on really great. And from 2020 to the end of 2020 or the beginning of 2023, I mean, we were making money hand over fist. It was insane what we were getting for some of these animals. Like you talked about that snake that, your friend bought from Ozzy. I mean, it was probably $10,000 snake. I mean, it was insane. It was insane how much money was getting thrown around in our industry. And so I built my new place and stuff like that. And, but I also knew that downturns also, happen but it was a very expensive time for me because we built this big house and all this other stuff. So it's been a little stressful, but we all get through it,
100%. Well, Brock, man, it's been an amazing show, man. Full of a lot of knowledge, super entertaining, all that, man. So I definitely appreciate you coming through, and definitely looking forward to seeing you in Tinley. Not too far away, like we're about a month and a half away, something like that.
We're about a month. We're about a month and like 6 days. Not that I'm but we're really. I can't wait for Tinley. I mean, I love the fall. Fall is my favorite time of the season, or favorite season, excuse me, because leaves are falling off. I live in Nebraska, seasonal change, and then football. You got college football going, and then babies. Snake babies. We have we're hatching out all the cool stuff. So the fall is like my favorite time of year.
Oh yeah, you're a Nebraska fan.
My wife is. I'm an Ohio State fan.
Okay, you're an Ohio State fan.
Yeah,
okay.
I like Ohio State, but yeah, she's going to the game this week, and she's going to Colorado. I think they might win against Colorado. It's kind of crazy. So,
how y'all looking this year? I know we look terrible. I'm a Florida fan, and we look terrible this past weekend. Like, it was. I could go on a whole rant. Like, if you got another hour and a half, I can go on a whole rant about like how disappointed I was.
Because you lost to Miami, right?
Yeah, and it's not just that we lost to Miami, but I expected us. So Miami coach came in at the same time as our coach. So they're both on year 3. Both of us, our seasons ended poorly last year. They went on a 5-game losing streak. We went on a 5-game losing streak. They've been recruiting a little bit better than us, but not to the point to where it shouldn't have been a competitive game. And so I expected it to be a competitive game. We were in the swamp, so our home field, 90,000 supposed to be screaming fans who were ready to scream, ready to be excited. But we went in there and we looked like we didn't even belong on our own home field. Like we were just so ill prepared, and it took the energy out of everybody. And I mean, to be honest, we got our ass whooped. We got our ass handed to us like the whole game. We got bullied up front and couldn't win on either side of the line. Receivers weren't getting separation. Defense was getting torched. Quarterback making bad decisions. Like it was just crazy, man. I was so disappointed. Like I was pissed.
Well, that's a rivalry game, isn't it? Isn't that a big rivalry?
Yeah, and it's a rivalry game too. And if we would have lost and been competitive, it would have been like a different thing, right? But we weren't even competitive. Like we looked like we weren't ready to play, and it was just so disappointing. Yeah, it was disappointing.
Yeah, I think college football is going to change now because they're paying the kids to play. And like I know that Raiola or whatever the Nebraska guy, he's an amazing quarterback. I saw a Nebraska quarterback, throw a side pass like that and hit his target. I was like, I haven't seen that in 10 years. What the hell just happened? And I hear rumors that he's getting paid like $1.5 million, to play. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy now with NIL. And man, like I said, I can go on a whole rant. I may need to just cut the mic on one day and just go on a rant and just post it like about Florida.
You might get a lot of views. You might. Well, thanks for having me, Mike. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And man, everybody in the chat, man, appreciate y'all coming out, showing support. Appreciate all the super chats, man. Definitely appreciate the love there as well. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to everyone that'll be listening to this on the audio only versions. Again, man, make sure y'all go check out Krista on Late to the Mic from Neurofile Exotics. But that's it for tonight, man. For Clutch Conversations, I am Mike. The lovely lady behind the scenes is Takara. Thank you all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
Bye.
All right.
I step up in the spot, they know the deal. Chillin' with that thrill. From the bottom to the top, I'm the king of the hill. Still eyes on me, feel the heat, it's a thrill feel. Got the shine in my hand, man, it's giving them chills. Still they wanna taste, they wanna see what's in my sleep. Believe, got that fire in my grip. Yeah, they need the fiend. No counterfeit, no tricks, just the realest thing. Pure and uncut, got them down, dropping to your knees, freeze. It's that glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. In the night it glows, whole place lit, can't quit. Every eyes on me, they can handle this shit. Hit, feel the rush, feel the push, yeah, it's too legit bliss. Once you get a taste, ain't no way you'll quit this. Pure like the rain, cold like the snow. Yo, they crave for the touch, yeah, they wanna know. Dope, what's the secret mojo? Got that perfect glow, Take a hit of this life, let your worries go slow, slow. That glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. They come from miles around just to get a glimpse. Whispering in the dark, making deals with pimps. Got that high grade shit, make the whole world limp. Glimpse, I'm the dealer of dreams, call me the main event set. Ain't no fakes, ain't no lies, it's the realest deal. Chill, got them looking for that glass, yeah, they love to feel real. I'm the plug, I'm the source, got that golden seal. This that glass, baby, now you know it's real. This that glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. In the end, they all come back, craving more and more. Once you get a taste, ain't no closing that door. I'm the king of the game, hear the lion roar. This that glass, baby, and it's what you're here for. In the end, they all come back, craving more and more. Once you get a taste, ain't no closing that door. I'm the king of the game, hear the lion roar. This that glass, baby, and it's what you're here for.
Subscribe, follow, rate,